Welcome back everybody to another episode of Sneaker Updates. This will be Sneaker Updates number 10. Now, if you happen to be new to this channel, this has now become a weekly series, and if you're not familiar with this series, essentially we go over a bunch of different sneakers, those of which we got updates for within this week. For instance, some of those sneakers may potentially include some Nike and Off-White, some Yeezys, Jordans, and more. So with that short little introduction out of the way, why don't we jump into the first update.
You will never get this, you will never get this, la 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 la.
Okay, so we are going to be starting off with some Nike and Off-White, since that is what you guys seem to like the most. Anyway, we're actually going to be kicking it off with the Off-White 97 Mentas. So a lot of you guys were asking about what's going on with these shoes, because they were supposed to be releasing in the US, but unfortunately, they obviously only released in Europe, Canada, and Japan. Now, regarding the black pair, US did get the black pair on the 18th via a draw, but Europe, Canada, and Japan did not get the black pair. But for right now, let's stick to the Mentas. So the most important thing to note throughout all of this is that the Mentas have been loaded onto Nike Sneakers US for months now. The set date was November 10th, so since we're very close to November 10th, it's very possible that we'll see a Sneakers Pass on the 9th and a draw on the 10th. Now, of course, this isn't definitive, so I want you guys to be prepared for shock drops as well. Anyway, it is possible that we will see a pattern similar to the Off-White Prestos that released in the US. So first of all, what I wanted to say was that the black Presto shock dropped, and then there was a draw for the white Presto. So it was kind of in a reverse order, but I think that's very possible that we might potentially see something like that. So of course, we already had in US the draw for the black pair, so it's possible now that we'll see a shock drop for the Mentas. Again though, it still is possible that we'll see a draw on the 10th with the Sneakers Pass on the 9th. Regardless though, no matter how it ends up, if they end up shock dropping before or after the 10th, or if they do release on the 10th, they are going to be releasing, guys. They have been loaded up for quite a while. Anyway, regarding the black pair for Europe, Japan, and Canada, because I know I got a lot of viewers all around the world, unfortunately, as far as I know, they didn't load up for you guys. So as of now, I'm not expecting a drop for you guys, but of course, I might have missed it. Maybe they did load up. If I happen to be wrong, feel free to comment down below. So unfortunately, that's some bad news for Europe, but we do have some great news for Europe. The great news is revolving around the Serena Williams Blazers that just released in the US via a scratch drop. So if you haven't seen my video where I talked about this release and what happened and the potential restock that is coming, I highly recommend checking that out at the end of this video. I'll leave an annotation for it at the end. But basically, just to sum it all up very briefly, the date was correct, which was the 25th. However, they did do a scratch drop just like they did for the Off-White Serena Williams 97. So basically, you had to scratch the tag that had no letters, so it would appear as if they then had letters after you scratched it. Now, unfortunately for iPhone users, it did have letters on it before you could scratch. So that means that it was not scratchable for iPhone users until about 3 to 4 minutes later. And this obviously wasn't updated for iPhone users. You would have had to sign out and sign back in at the perfect time, because after 4 minutes or so passed, then there was lackluster stock. About like 90% of the stock was already gone from the 4 minutes that it was available for Android users. So Android users did clean up most of the stock. I guess Nike kind of screwed this one up. However, I do appreciate their effort to obviously keep bots from purchasing these pairs, because all these W's, I know they were on Android, but no bots were able to cop through these scratch drops. Same with the Sneakers Passes as well. Although it is very difficult to cop manually, and they did kind of mess it up on this release, I do really respect that they were putting in this extra effort to make it possible for us manual users to cop. So hopefully next time they're able to execute this actually correctly, so everyone has an equivalent chance of copying. But anyway, more info from that release in my other video. Feel free to check it out at the end of today's video. But the main thing I wanted to mention from there is that all of Nike reps, they have been consistently saying that there will be a restock for these in effort to make up for what happened for the iPhone users. So I don't know if this is going to be available for Android as well, but the unique thing that I found was one of the Nike reps actually mentioned a potential date, which was October 31st. So shout out to the guy who was able to get this. But yeah, I usually disregard what Nike reps say because they usually contradict one another, but now it's come to a point where everything's pretty consistent. Basically, all of them have been saying that there will be a restock, so definitely keep your eyes peeled because it's also possible that they won't do it on the 31st. Anyway, the good news for Europe is that Europe will be getting these. You guys just have to be patient. Anyway, with the Serena Williams Blazers out of the way, let's move on to the next update. So now we have a new date for the Off-White Zoom Flies. Before, we thought that they were going to be releasing on the 13th because sneakers and stuff did have a raffle that was scheduled for them, but then they deleted the product page, so unfortunately they were not going to be releasing on October 13th. Now they're releasing in November, and according to Pirates, they have a date set for November 28th for both pairs, which will be $170 each. Now, if they do happen to release on the same date, which is what Pirates is claiming, I do think you will then see a draw on the 28th and then a sneakers pass on the 27th for both of these pairs for New York City and Chicago. Anyway though, with those out of the way, let's move on to the next update. So it looks like we might have another shot to catch even more L's on the Spooky Pack and Serena Williams Blazers. Anyway, according to Invincible's Instagram, all three of these are coming soon. So most likely they will be releasing these through a raffle. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated for this. I will most likely be tweeting out the link for their raffle, or if a product page happens to come up hypothetically. My Twitter is KeithAdam10. But the main thing I wanted to say about this is that it gives me hope that there will be a couple more retailers releasing these. And of course, the more that come up, I will be tweeting those out to you guys, or I might even make a video. So if you happen to be new, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications just to stay 100% updated on all of these hyped sneakers. But with Nike and Off-White out of the way, why don't we move on to some Yeezys? So the first thing I wanted to say for Yeezys was just a huge thank you to everyone who showed support in the stream. I had a ton of fun copying with you guys like I always do. I personally just stuck to the rare sizes. I didn't really want a personal pair just because I'm not too crazy about it. But most importantly, guys, I just had a ton of fun copying with you guys, and I always love doing these live cops. Huge shout out to Bicantha for showing up. Huge shout out to SG Cooks, Soul Links. My name is Danny from Soul City. Huge thank you to all of you guys who showed up. I really do appreciate it. And of course, everyone else who showed up too. But anyway, getting to the news. First of all, we have official pictures for the Yeezy 500 Salt, which we'll be releasing for $200 this November 17th. Now, also November, we have the Zebras re-releasing. Of course, you guys already know about this. I already talked about this in a previous video. They're releasing on the 9th for $220. But the main update I wanted to give you guys is that apparently they do have new production dates. There was a huge controversy a long time ago when Yeezy Mafia claimed that the Zebras would never restock. Apparently, when they re-released, it was something completely different because there was a different production date. And what Yeezy Mafia recently did in one of their pictures, they claimed that these and the Zebras will be restocking. So if they were staying consistent with their information, obviously this would mean that these are going to be very limited. Considering there's no new production numbers, these are just leftover pairs that they decided not to release in the past. Now, though, it looks like there are going to be new production dates, so that means these should be rather easy to cop. So don't stress on this release, guys. You should be okay. Just make sure you're opening up a ton of Chrome users. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, of course, I'll be making a how to cop guide for these as well. And regarding resale prediction for these, since they're right around the corner, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be asking, I do believe these will be profitable just because there is going to be a lot of stock, but the demand is so exceptional on these shoes. Granted, it's not going to be a ton of profit, but I still recommend going for them if you can. And of course, also in November, we have the Sesame V2s dropping Black Friday, November 23rd for $220. You guys already know this. I just wanted to basically sum November up. And we got a lot of heat coming in December, but we'll get to that when we get to December. Anyway, the next update for Yeezys, and this is the last one actually, we just simply got some mock-ups for the Yeezy 451s. Obviously, we saw a prototype for these, and we also saw what the outsole looked like, because I believe Modern Notoriety posted this. I don't know, I thought it was unique to see. I'm not a huge fan of these, but perhaps my mind will be changed if I see these in person. Again, guys, I love those shoes that are loud and out there, so perhaps I'll end up liking these. So not much Yeezy news today, so with that, why don't we move on to some Jordan. Kick it off, the PSG Jordan 1 will be releasing November 3rd for $160. And also November 3rd, we have the Jordan 5 Satin, which is dropping for $190. For both of these, I know a lot of you guys are going to be asking because this release is right around the corner. I do recommend only copying these for personal wear, not for resale purposes. And then same thing goes for the Jordan 3 Chlorophyll, which is dropping November 10th. I will be making that video which encompasses all the releases and what shoes to resell for November, essentially the most hyped sneakers. So don't worry, I know I'm leaving some shoes out, but these were just the ones I wanted to update you guys on. I'll be talking about all the other shoes in my next video though, so be sure to turn on post notifications if you happen to be new. Anyway, moving on, we have an early look in hand at the black infrared 6s. Now, the reason I wanted to point this one out, because we already saw what they looked like in hand, was in a couple of pictures, you couldn't really tell if it was going to be a red or closer to the infrared, like that pink color that we saw with the 2014 release. So courtesy of Hanzu Ying, I apologize if I mispronounced that, but it looks like these are going to be closer to red, which I'm very happy about. This is probably my most anticipated sneaker for 2019, just because I have a really fond memory of camping out for these when I was 13 years old. So it's really great to be able to get this shoe back in my size again, because I was really young when I got that pair. So it's definitely going to bring up some nostalgia once I get these in hand. So I'm very excited for these, especially with that Nike Air. Anyway, moving on, according to Travis Scott, unfortunately, the purple Cactus Jack 4s will be friends and family only. And I do believe this was on his Snapchat story, and I'm not exactly sure if he was referring to the Nike Air pair, and perhaps just like the blue pair where the Nike Air one was friends and family, perhaps there'll be a GR pair made. As of now, though, it's not looking like that, but I'll keep you guys updated. But the good news is that we are going to be getting the green pair. Now, granted, I don't think our pairs, the general release pair, will have the Nike Air on the back, but still, I'm very excited for this release. And of course, some more good news, which is what I mentioned in my last video, actually, we are also getting some Travis Scott 1s. I'm not a huge fan of them, but they're interesting, so I look forward to getting a personal pair. Anyway, that's it for Jordan, so let's move on to just some miscellaneous sneakers. So let's actually kick it off with some Ultra Boosts, and these are two sneakers that I'm really looking forward to. So Madness will actually be releasing 2 pairs of Ultra Boosts soon. Of course, I'll have to keep you guys updated if any other consortium stores will be getting these, or perhaps if Adidas.com releases these. I highly doubt that Adidas.com is going to be getting these, but I'll keep you guys updated on everything. Anyway, moving on to some 4D shoes. We had the white Alpha Edge 4Ds drop on Adidas Canada and also Essence. Now, unfortunately, these are sold out, but the good news is that these are now going to be releasing globally very soon. I'll keep you guys updated for these as well. And soon as well, we should also be seeing some Kith 4Ds as well. Moving on, regarding the Mars Yard overshoe, I know a lot of you guys were wondering about these. I don't have much information as of now, but I do know, because I know a lot of you guys were wondering, if you can remove the Mars Yard from the overshoe, you can do that. Apparently, one of the customizers did. I'm not sure if they're stitched in or something like that, but evidently, it is definitely possible to do this. So you could check out his Instagram. Finally, the last update, courtesy of Foamalicious, the Fluorofoams are now expected to be releasing in January. But let me know your thoughts on any of the sneakers that I mentioned today. Which ones are you looking forward to, etc. Huge shout out to all my sources as well, which include Solinks, J23 app, Pirates, Sneaker News, Sneaker Bar Detroit, and Yeezy Mafia. With that though, I'm gonna conclude the video. Feel free to subscribe and turn on post notifications if you happen to be new. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video or if you perhaps learned a thing or two. With that though, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.
Get your foot on my foot.